You're watching NFL Daily. I am Tom Downey answering all of your questions on today's mailbag. Came in live on Monday's NFL Daily. Well, we go to the Super Chat from Timothy Crooms. Wilson to the Colts. Grab Mike Williams, Adam, or Gesicki. Need defense with J.C. Jackson or a free agent pass rusher. So you're spending big. The biggest issue with Russell Wilson to the Colts, what are they offering? What are they trading to get him? There's no first-round pick. Carson Wentz does not have immense value. Sorry to the Carson Wentz account in the comments. There's not much value there. So what are you moving to Seattle to acquire that big-time talent? I don't know what you're getting there. Mike Williams, Devontae Adams, Mike Gesicki. I don't know if you can get one of those guys. Now, I think Mike Williams is the most likely, although maybe Gesicki fits more since I think Pittman and Williams have some similarities from that standpoint. J.C. Jackson, I would be down. Money's a big factor there. And pass rusher, I do think there's some good names out there to keep an eye on. So the biggest issue there is Wilson. How do you acquire him? From Terrance Menace, what is your favorite running back fit for the Dolphins this offseason? All of them? I think for Miami, you don't have to spend big in the market. Now, you could draft somebody. I think someone like a Kyren Williams would be a fantastic draft fit, but you take the best guy in round 2. I'm not going to complain. The whole purpose of adding Mike McDaniel is that you hire someone who doesn't need to spend big at that position. So, look, Fournette could fit. If Rashad Penny's cheap, I like that idea. You could go with a Chase Edmonds, I think would thrive in that offense. Maybe you go super cheap and go after a Jeff Wilson who knows the scheme. That could be an option for Miami as well. From B1s, who do you think the Raiders draft at pick 22? I think go a lot of routes. The two areas I'm most focused on are wide receiver. That could be a certain area of target given all their needs at that point. There will be guys there. Some combo of Chris Olave, Drake London, Jameson Williams, I'm sure would be there. Maybe a Traylon Burks is on the board at that point too. If it's not that route, I would look defensive tackle. There are some key free agents. Raiders will not keep all of them. So I think you're looking at maybe a Devontae Wyatt, maybe a Jordan Davis out of Georgia in round 1. From Joe Cool, best free agent fits for the Bengals. Name an offensive lineman. Outside of Jonah Williams, you don't have to keep anybody as a starter. Now, maybe center Trey Hopkins can stick at center or even guard for you. Maybe you're not out on Jackson Carman quite yet, but I do think that's a route they could certainly pursue this upcoming year. So we'll wait and see on that front, but I do think that makes sense tonight. It's any offensive lineman they could go get. From Can You Dig It? To the Browns draft Malik Willis. Didn't want to skip over you here, my friend. I don't like the idea. I get that you might be upset and worried about Baker. Totally fair. I don't think Malik Willis is better right now. I would argue he's a worse QB at this current stage. The upside is certainly there. He's a fantastic athlete. He's got a huge arm. But the level of play has not been consistent. And if you miss on Willis, that entire regime's getting fired. I would aim bigger or roll it back with Baker for one more year. But I do think Willis goes in round 1. Some destinations to watch for here. Carolina at number 6. Denver at number 9. The Commanders at number 11. Minnesota at 12. The Saints at 18. And the one that I'm most intrigued by is Pittsburgh at 20. A regime that hasn't had a drafted early QB in round 1 since, Big Ben. Would they be willing to gamble on Malik Willis if he's there, or even go trade up for him? It's possible from that perspective. So who will draft Malik Willis this year? Someone I think will gamble on him in round 1. Make your predictions for me in the comments right now. From Alan, hashtag NFL. So do we start or trade Connor McGovern? This is a Cowboys Connor McGovern question, not the Jets version. He wasn't great at left guard. If I were the Cowboys, I would tell McGovern, hey, you're going to get run at left guard this season. So train like you're going to play at left guard. And then as camp goes on and the preseason arrives, you'll know if he's good enough there. He's a solid right guard. There is a starting spot in the NFL for Connor McGovern. The question is it at left guard, or can he just not play there? If the answer is no, then yeah, you should trade him. Devin Greathouse, where do you think Watson will sign, you mean be traded to? I don't know. I think Carolina will go all in on him this offseason, but they are a bit light on draft capital. The Eagles and Giants have the picks. Do they want him? There's a lot of concern on that front for Deshaun. He's still, as weird as it's been, in a holding pattern for the past year-ish at this point. ECK Sports, possible teams for Haason Reddick. I think Seattle would be a great destination. Any team that needs a pass rusher, and there are a lot of them, should have interest in Haason Reddick. The number one fit, though, as far as I'm concerned, he should just go back to Carolina. Like, they need him, and I think should want him, opposite Brian Burns. It'd be a fantastic 1-2 punch, just like it was this past year. I'd go that route. Maybe the Jets or Giants, if they want some more pass rush help. Both those teams would be, I would argue, good fits. But any team that needs a pass rusher, it's a good route to go explore. Follow me on Twitter if A, we did not get to your question, but also for Combine videos. The NFL Combine is officially here. I've got the 40-yard dashes and other drills going up on my timeline. So if you want those updates, hit me up on Twitter at WhatGoingDowney. Demerius Young, other than QB, what free agents should the Commanders get? I'd be looking at safety. That's one area I'd be searching. I don't think Landon Collins returns this year. Bobby McCain's a free agent. Do you go cheaper at offensive guard since I think Brandon Scherf might be gone? J.D. McKissick, your RB2, he's a free agent. It's a route you could pursue. Edge, if you want better depth beyond Chase Young and Montez Sweat, good areas. And beyond that, I think this team's in pretty good shape. Maybe you're not sold on Curtis Samuel. Receiver could once again be an area of focus. Join the Dak Side. What would a DeMarcus Lawrence extension for Dallas look like? I'm honestly not sure. It is the per year is a bit murky for a guy with injury history as of late, and he's making $20 million. Does he want to take a little bit less over the next couple years? Ask him to, but he might say, nah, cut me or pay me this year, and I'll go cash in again next offseason. So that's a bit tricky. I'd say maybe in the $15 to $20 million per year range is about what Lawrence could realistically expect to get. For nonstop coverage of NFL free agency, draft, trades, and more, hit that big red button and subscribe today. It is all free here on Chat Sports, and it always will be. So if you haven't already, subscribe right now. Super Chat time, $10 from Taylor Holland. Thank you, Taylor. Hashtag NFL. If Denver misses on the big names, who has a better chance of making close to a Stafford-like comeback or impact? Matt Ryan, fix the contract and trade for him, or Jimmy G, someone else? I don't think Jimmy G's ever been as good as Matthew Stafford from a talent perspective. Matt Ryan, I think, fits that mold pretty decently. I don't know if Ryan gets dealt. The concern for Denver is, if you miss out on those QBs and the Falcons want to keep Matt Ryan, Jimmy G's your next best option. That's not a great outcome for Denver at the QB position. So Ryan's my pick there. I mean, do you want to gamble on Carson Wentz, Jameis Winston? It's not a great grouping of QBs beyond those big trade names. From True Story, saw an idea of an Xavien Howard for George Kittle trade. I assume you mean George, not Georgie, or however that's pronounced or spelled there. Thoughts? I think the Dolphins would do it, at least consider it. They would then move on from Mike Gesicki. I don't want to get it for the Niners side. I know that corner's a need for Miami. And Xavien Howard's an awesome corner. 5 interceptions, 16 pass breakups, but they'd be giving Xavien Howard a new contract, paying him a good amount of money, and also eating a lot of money by trading away George Kittle. The idea of trading away a almost 1,000-yard tight end for a team that loves to use tight ends, and Kittle is a perfect fit, doesn't make any sense to me. It doesn't make sense from an on-field perspective, from a team-building perspective, from a roster construction, from a cap perspective. All that makes me think the Niners say, what are you talking about, my friend? So pick a player. XH for Xavien Howard or JK for George Kittle, or GK. Who would you pick? Let me know. Drop which one you would rather have on your roster. From K. Kitch, Texans need a lot of help. What do you see being their most likely moves? And do you think they trade the 3rd overall pick down? I mean, a lot of help is pretty accurate. I kind of suspect this is going to be a situation where they look to move on from Laramie Tunsil, potentially. I don't know who wants to go to Houston, which is, a red flag there. I think they would love to trade down. Who wants to move up, though? Makes it a little bit tricky from that perspective. From Blood Wolf, thoughts on Drake Jackson for USC? You're banking on the upside. I got my notes done here. I got a second-ish round grade, at least before combine and stuff. He cut down his weight, dropped 25 pounds his freshman year. The production's always been kind of middling as well, but he's got bend and burst. He's young. He only turns 21 in April. There are flashes of those elite traits, but I don't trust him right now against the run, and he's got to add more power. So I think you gamble on that type of player in day 2. I hated how much USC dropped him into coverage. That was stupid by the Trojans, but I think there's upside there of a nice round 2 pick who emerges as a potential really solid edge 2 in the NFL. From Loyalty, who is more realistic QB the Panthers could pursue? Wilson, Cousin, or Tom's choice? I think Cousins is your most realistic name there. Unless Wilson says, I'm done, trade me, I don't think the Seahawks will move him. So I think Cousins makes sense. Panthers will be involved because that regime is going to get fired, namely head coach Matt Rule, who's the true decision maker right now in Carolina. They don't win games, he's gone. They will get aggressive then to make a move. From Optimus Negative, thoughts on Nicholas Petit-Frere? Up and down, inconsistent. Good run blocker. I'd argue better on the right side back in 2020 than he is currently. But on day 2, that left tackle, right tackle flex will carry plenty of value. Somebody's going to draft him. I am very curious, by the way, how he measures at the NFL Combine, but he's inconsistent still, and I thought he should have gone to the Senior Bowl. I was a bit disappointed he did not. I thought that would have been a good experience for him. Some teams on day 2 to watch out for. The Giants as a right tackle option, since they got Andrew Thomas on the left side. Seattle, either side. Denver, LA, and Atlanta. I think all pretty solid fits given the uncertainty, short-term, long-term, at the right tackle spot. I think that's where I'd play him. I don't want him on the left side like he played this year. I think he's better on the right side. We'll see how he tests. I think that would be a big deal for his draft stock. He's a non-first-round guy, Petit-Frere is. So who's your favorite non-first-round prospect? Drop a name for me in the comments section, your favorite non-first-round player. From Jordan VDB, will David Ajabo test well at the Combine? I think yes. He's got great straight-line speed. The Michigan guys have always tested pretty well. They do put out some not that accurate numbers to Bruce Feldman in terms of how great they're going to test, but I would think he's going to remain heavily in that first-round combo. He's going to test like a pretty good freak athlete. Mike Rowland, which free agent wide receiver do you think the Eagles acquire this offseason? I don't know how aggressive they're going to spend at the position. Obviously, the J.J. Arcega-Whiteside, Jalen Reagor picks have not been great. I wouldn't mind a bigger body. My dream fit for them is Mike Williams. I don't know if they'll spend at that level, though.